Hey everybody, it's Tony Cottaspati here from GreatVocalMajority.com, YouTube channel, website, podcast. And today I want to talk a little bit about what happened yesterday in Charlottesville, Virginia, because I don't like what I'm seeing in the media. I mean, that's a surprise, right? I'm always critical of the media. But this time it's the entire media, which is really kind of disturbing to me. So let's go over what we know as the facts so far. We know that there was a planned removal of a Confederate war monument, Robert E. Lee, and that there were people who were opposed to that. Now, the people who are opposed to that, generally speaking, are just average people. It doesn't necessarily qualify you as a racist just because you think Robert E. Lee's statue should remain where it is. And a lot of people wanted to have a protest in favor of keeping the monument where it is. It's, you may disagree with that, you may agree with it, but it's a legitimate thing to protest over. But there was also a counter-protest group that was made up of a number of different groups, but primarily Black Lives Matter and this group Antifa. Now, Black Lives Matter has advocated in the past for the killing of police officers. Now, they officially deny that, but it's hard to deny the videotape of Black Lives Matter protesters marching through the streets screaming for blood from cops. I mean, that actually did happen. And Antifa, I mean Berkeley, hello? We know that Antifa believes that violence is justified. So these two groups both have either promoted or committed violence of their own. And the protest group, so they were organized as counter-protesters. The protest group that was coming also had a group latched onto it, piggybacking on to them, that was led by David Duke, who's a racist KKK leader or former KKK leader. And they came with a bunch of white supremacists, and they basically hijacked the original protesters. And so now knowing this posed a problem, because you have one group, the KKK and white supremacists and other groups like that are prone to violence. We know this. I mean, we know the KKK has a long history of violence. And then you have these other left-wing groups that are violent as well. So you would have expected that the Charlottesville, Virginia Police Department would have made accommodations for that to try to keep both of these protest groups separated, and that they would have had enough manpower in place. They would have cordoned off areas. They would have said, you may go here, you may not go here, just to keep everybody away from each other so that they could maximize the possibility that the protest and the counter-protest remain peaceful. But they didn't do that. And I don't know why they didn't do that, and I'm not sure I understand why the news media isn't putting that at the top of the list of the questions that need to be asked. And then what happened today was a videotape of just some guys that are constitutional patriots who were also at the protest and were protesting to keep the statue of Robert E. Lee in place. Those people made their own video today to say that nothing being reported in the media is correct about this. And in that, they're also including Fox News, which doesn't really surprise me, because Fox News is often called a conservative news outlet, and they have conservative commentators, but they have pretty much a mix. I mean, Shepard Smith is not a conservative. That's just one example. Neither is Geraldo Rivera. There's a few others. But the point being, though, Fox News wasn't reporting this properly. and naturally CNN wasn't. And then yesterday, after all this violence went down, President Trump came out and made a general statement condemning all sides and condemning hate and violence. And for that, he's been raked over the coals for not singling out the white supremacist and the David Duke people and David Duke himself. And for the life of me, I don't understand why people are upset that he didn't do that. What he did, what President Trump actually said, was really the only thing that he could responsibly say. Because, first of all, there's not been any investigation into this at all. I mean, nobody really can say, at least without an investigation, how this actually started, why the police weren't in between these two groups, why there wasn't enough police there. And now I'm hearing people saying that the police stood there with their arms folded. I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not, but should we investigate this before we make any conclusions? I mean, listen, we know the Ku Klux Klan and David Duke and white supremacists and these other violent type of hate groups on that side of things are reprehensible. We know this. I mean, I'm not arguing that there's a victim and a perpetrator here. I'm saying they're both guilty, and Trump was right about that, I believe. Also, why would President Trump single out the white supremacist group, for example, like some people are demanding? Now, if he did that, doesn't he elevate their status by just even mentioning them by name? I mean, should he do that? Should he elevate them? No, I don't think so. And then, same thing with David Duke. Should he mention David Duke doing this and that? No, he shouldn't elevate David Duke's status. The media's doing that by covering this the way they're covering it. You don't want the president doing that. You don't want the president giving attention to dirtbags like David Duke. I mean, come on. And then similarly, on the other side, if Trump singles out, let's say, Black Lives Matter or Antifa, doesn't he elevate them? So he can't really mention one of them or all of them or just one side or the other side. He can't do that without appearing as though he's favoring the other guys. I'll give you an example of this. Suppose Trump came out and said that this riot by these people was wrong, and it was obviously caused by the white supremacists and David Duke, who's a despicable human being. By doing that, yes, he is berating and knocking down David Duke in a sense, but he's also giving him his name. He's raising the profile of the name, David Duke, so more Americans are going to hear that name. They're going to want to know who he is. That's not good. But at the same time, by doing that, he is implicitly supporting the other side, the Antifas and the Black Lives Matters, which he shouldn't. He shouldn't. They're just as bad. So you see, the only course of action that made any sense for Trump at all, in my opinion, is what he did. He said, hate and violence on all sides, on many sides, or whatever the exact words were he used. That is exactly the right way to go, in my opinion. And I can't understand why he needs to be criticized for that. He should not be criticized for that. He said exactly the right thing at the right time. And I wanted to throw that out there. And if you come and look at my Facebook page or my or even down in the comment area below this video, I'm going to put a link to a video put out by these patriots that were there just protesting the removal of the monument, and they state explicitly that they're against the Klan, that they're not racist, that they don't have any animus or antipathy whatsoever towards people of other races or religions or whatever. And they say that the police really did not take action the way they needed to. That's it for me. I'm Tony Cottaspati from great vocal majority. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel, and I'll speak to you guys soon. Thanks.